Hey everybody, welcome back to another review of Married at First Sight. This is season 12, episode 11. It's titled The Month Anniversary. Overall, this episode was just normal regular episode. It's still too long. Now, some of these couples this is just like a bad season, I think, because I don't think a lot of these couples are worth a damn, worth watching. But here we are. So let's get to it. We're gonna start out with Ryan and Clara. They start out with Clara's moving stuff into Ryan's house. Oh, they're out in the backyard. They set up a projector and stuff. It seems like Clara is very eager. She's ready to move into his house, and it seems like he wants her to move in, but it also seems like he's kind of hesitant. You know, and that's a big life change. I can understand him being like worried about it. It seems like she is determined to throw all his stuff away and bring all her furniture in. And he says he's like, I'm cool. Okay, that's cool, cool. But it doesn't really seem like he is really that cool with that shit. Like, because she said we're getting rid of all of your furniture except the love seat, I think. And she's going to bring all her furniture there. Yeah, I don't think he's really that cool with that. They went on a double date with Eric and Virginia. And basically, it was a waste of time from what they showed us because it was obvious that there's something going on with Clara and Ryan. Like, it's frustrated. She is obviously frustrated and sad. She looks sad. She looks like she is very down. And it's because of sexual attention. Like, she wants to have sex. And she doesn't understand why he does not. And she's taking it per like maybe she's unattracted. Maybe he thinks she's ugly. It could be like she can't figure out why he doesn't want to have sex with her. And he seems oblivious or just unconcerned and doesn't care. Like he's made his decision that he's not finna have sex right now, and he doesn't really care that it's bothering her. And he's in no rush to say I love you, even though it came up where like Eric and Virginia, like, we love each other, we say it all the time in the mornings and at nights. And she's like, Ryan never says it. Ryan has never said it. And he said he been in a relationship for 2 years with someone. That was a longer relationship, was for 2 years. And those 2 years he never told a person that he loved them. He never said I love you to the person. That sounds ridiculous to me. And it sounds like he has in his mind that love is this certain feeling or this certain thing, and if it's not that, then it's not love. He needs to bring his expectations of what love is down. Like he's waiting for something holier, something wonderful to happen, like angels will start singing and bells will start ringing. No. He needs to put what he thinks love is, he needs to define it. This is what I think love is. And when that happens, that's love. I don't know what he's waiting on, but if that's the case, he's never going to find it. Whatever he thinks is going to happen, isn't going to happen. I couldn't imagine being with somebody for 2 years that I didn't love. That I just no. If I don't feel for you like that, there's no way I'll be with you for 2 years. Uh, and Clara said, if you don't say, and he said that she said, if you don't tell me you love me in 6 months, I'm gone. I'm not gonna wait 2 years. And yeah, I'm not like if you don't love me in 6 months, what more time do you need? You know, and Ryan says he's looking for like they're having some kind of weird friendship, companionship, kind of love thing going on. I think that's what Clara said. One of them said it. And I'm like, dude, that's love. Like, if you can see yourself with her, if you consider her a friend, a companion, somebody you can talk to, you can spend time with and do all this stuff with, that's love, dude. I don't know what you can't imagine not being with her. That's love. Like he has something, some definition of it in his mind that I think is just way out there. Later on, they go on a helicopter ride to celebrate their month anniversary because she said, because he remembered during the wedding, she said she always wanted to go to helicopter ride, so he got her a helicopter ride, and they went around. And they were going when they were waiting to go. She was like, "This is great." I think when they got back, God, what was it? I think it was when they got back. She was like, "That was awesome. Thank you for taking me." And he was like, "Thanks, pal." And she looked at him like, "Pal." And I was like, I was watching on TV. I'm like, "Pal? Oh my God, that's thanks, pal." You don't even say pal to your friends. You say pal to like strangers. You don't say pal, P-A-L, pal. Who do you say pal to in your real life? Someone you don't know? Someone that's like down the road? They say, "Hey, watch out now. There's a dead skunk in the road." "All right, thanks, pal." It's not somebody you know or care about. You say buddy, if anything. If it's a friend, like, "Thanks, dog." "Oh, thanks, buddy." I know this person. Pal? Who the fuck says that? To their wife. Out of the millions of things he could have said, he said, "Thanks, pal." I don't know if he was just a joke or whatever. They go back and they go to the backyard, which is neat. He has a projector screen and projector set up in the backyard up against the house so they can watch movies outside. That was real neat. And they had a dinner. I guess they ordered dinner and they weren't talking to each other. And the food was cold. It seemed like it was just a bad idea. Like, it seemed like it sounded romantic, but the execution wasn't very romantic. The helicopter ride was romantic because it was executed well. But after that, none of the stuff was really executed well. And they were talking about, being married, how it's been going this month, stuff like that. And they watched their wedding video, and it was cute. I guess they had never seen it before. They were in the wedding, but they never actually sat back and watched it. And I think that was cute. That was shocking. They really liked it. And seeing their reaction to the stuff was neat too. But that's about it with them. I don't know what's going on with them. They're just awkward. They really are. Because it's like she's really pushing to be more intimate, and he is like a blank slate. And I think more is happening off camera than what we're being shown on camera. Because when you talk to her, she is like, "We're having this great relationship, everything's going great and fine," but we're not seeing that. Even the way when stuff comes up, the way they talk, like we've talked about before, we've discussed this before, to other people, we're like, "I've never seen that." So they must be doing a lot more off camera that we're not seeing. But when the cameras are around, I think Ryan just clams up and Clara opens up. So then I think the camera is kind of throwing a wrench into their natural chemistry. That's kind of how it feels. That's the only thing that explains what's going on. Is that when the camera's around, he really doesn't want to talk. He doesn't want to really do anything. And she wants to do everything. And talk about everything. So I think that's what's going on with them. But that was all they did. It wasn't much else going on with them. Next, we're going to go to Chris and Paige. Oh, I'm sick of Chris and Paige. Started out with playing basketball. It was dumb. And Chris was talking some bullshit about he's committed and he's invested. You've already told her you want a divorce. You already told her that you want to get back with your ex. You told her you want to be your baby mama. You're not committed and you're not invested in a goddamn thing. And Paige is still sitting here eating this up, knowing that it's not true. And he talks about, his long-term goals. He wants to have a business and do all this other stuff. Just a bunch of shit that ain't got nothing to do with her at all. None of this shit involves Paige. I don't know why she's like, this is something we should have been talked about. This is how it should have started, with us talking about these discussions about our plans and our goals and our dreams, stuff like that. He don't like you. And he says that he's an introvert. She was like, "Really?" Like, "No, he's not. He's an asshole, if anything." And then she brought up the fact that she didn't know he was engaged twice, because she only knew he was engaged once. And so she asked him about the first engagement, what happened, and he said, he was young. And she said, "Well, how long did you know her before you got engaged?" He was like, "I don't want to tell you that." Because he didn't want, because it was probably like a week. And then he got engaged. He really didn't want to talk to her about it. But she brought it up, and he kind of couldn't run away from it. And they were just talking, and she is like getting smitten at all this stuff he's saying. I'm listening to it like this is nonsense. Later on, they're playing pool. He beats her in pool. He beat her in basketball. He beats her in pool. And he starts this nonsense argument with Paige. Because I guess he called her and she didn't answer. She said, well, I was busy. I was working. Or she said she's with her mom. If he was like, she said she knew he was calling, but she was like, I was doing something and I couldn't answer the phone. I was either at work when you called or I was doing something with my mom when you called and she couldn't answer the phone. So she was like, oh, I'll call you back, but she never called him back. And the only time I think he said she answered was when, like, you know, the camera was there. So he was like, well, you know, I want to spend time with you, I want to do stuff with you, but it seems like you don't want to do that. Nonsense, bullshit. And basically he was trying to say that the reason they have communication problems, he was trying to put it that all the problems were on her and none of it was his fault. Because she didn't answer the phone is why they having problems. And Paige was like, that's bullshit. She stood her ground on that. And he's talking about she's not meeting his needs. And she's like, you're not meeting mine. She's like, they had this argument. Like, I don't know what. It was so stupid. Why is she entertaining him? And why is he acting like he's done nothing wrong? He doesn't respect her. She said, you have no respect for me. And he doesn't. And he started arguing like, well, you know, you're like, when the camera's here, he said, I want to spend time with you off camera. I don't want to be with you on camera. And Paige is like, we're not going to spend time together off camera. Probably because he might be gross and is trying to, he basically just wants to sleep with her. So she's always got a witness around the cameras whenever he's around to record whatever stupidity or nonsense he does. And I agree with her on that. And, you know, he leaves and she's later watching the wedding video and the photos. And was just like, you know, she said she's going to choose herself because what he's up to is ridiculous and he's not doing anything for her. He's full of shit. But she said she's going to choose herself, which she should have been did a long ass time ago. And that was it. They just argued the whole fucking time. I don't know why they're even forcing them to even talk to each other. They don't need to. It's over and done with. Moving on, we're going to Eric and Virginia. They start out on a double date with Claire and Ryan, and they're like, you know, it's all good, we love each other, blah, 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 blah. And they're talking about Claire and Ryan, because Claire and Ryan are moving in together. And they're like, well, we should probably discuss that too. And they go on a picnic later and they talk about, you know, moving in together, stuff like that. And Ryan was like, well, you know, hey, you know, sharing a house with somebody, you know, I've done it before. And she's like, oh, I just love hearing you say that, you know. And he's like, hey, I know, I'm sorry, but, you know, because he says it all the fucking time. I've done it before. Remember, you've done it before and it failed. So don't think you did it right. Just you've done it incorrectly before. That's what happened. And he wants her to move in with him, and she's like, no. She said, I don't want to move in with you because I have all these animals. She's like, I have a dog and 2 cats, and I don't want them in your house messing up stuff, doing stuff, because that would make me nervous, make me uncomfortable. I want us to get a house together, and we can move in it together. And until we can do that, we just have to live separate because she doesn't want her animal, she doesn't want her pets in his house, you know, messing with his stuff. She would rather have them destroy her house. And which I completely understand, makes perfect sense. She's like, I'm uncomfortable with that arrangement. Eric don't give a fuck. He's like, if you're my wife, you're moving in with me. And she was like, no, I'm not going to do that. And he said that, well, you never said this before. She was like, I have said it before. And he's like, well, you never said it that specifically. She said, oh, well, let me say it more specifically. I am not going to move in with you. I'm not moving in with you. We should get our own place together where I move out and you move out and we move somewhere together. And he doesn't want to hear that. He is like, well, you know, this relationship, and he's on some bullshit. He was like, oh, marriages are give and take. And You know, you have to give, you got to take. Sometimes you got to lose. Sometimes you got to compromise. And she was like, okay, so why can't you say, how you like, oh, I'm not selling my house, you're moving in with me. That's not compromise. That's not give and take. Virginia's answer was a give and take. We both move out of our place and we go somewhere new and start there. Excuse me. And he was like, no, we're not doing that. That was a compromise. And she is saying, I don't want to do that because I am uncomfortable at your place. I'm uncomfortable living with you in that house because of my animals and because you have this house that really isn't suited for pets. I want to live somewhere where we can have pets. Makes perfect sense. He don't agree. He thinks that no, you're my wife, you're moving in with me, that's it. His idea of compromise is you just do what I say. And that's not compromise. And honestly, she needs to stand her ground on this because this isn't even about compromise. It's about power. If she moves in with him in his house, he can use that against her forever. For their entire marriage, he can hold that over her head. And he would. He is just enough of an asshole and a fucking bully and privileged enough that he would actually do that. She couldn't say and do shit. Because he's like, oh, this is my house. You can tell by his way he acts, his demeanor, he's that kind of dude. Well, this is my house. You're going to do what I say in my house. No, she should stand her ground on that shit. Like, no. Either we're going to get somewhere together separate, get somewhere together neutral, or you're going to stay there and I'm going to stay here. If you don't want to do that, she should stand her ground on that shit because she's right. Because she is saying that I don't want to do that because I am uncomfortable living in your place. And he just completely disregarded that. He didn't care about how she felt, what she thought, or her ideas. It was all stupid if it wasn't his idea. The more he talks, the less and less I like him. And the more and more she talks, the more respect I have for her. Later, they go to his family hangar where they got all their planes and their luxury cars and all that shit. And they go and they look at the wedding photos and they read the vows to each other. They said she reads her vows because they have them framed. He reads his to her, and they're sweet. They're nice. And then they go flying, which is also really cool. He flies her around. They're having fun. Later, they come back for dinner. And they exchange gifts. His gift to her were the coordinates of where they got married. It was thoughtful yet stupid. And her gift to him was a blanket with her face and her dog's face on it. Very thoughtful, stupid. And they just talk, about what they expected, about, they don't want to get hurt, stuff like that. And that was pretty much it for them. Nothing else happened. I don't like Eric. I don't think there's any way in the world this works long term. There's no way. I don't even see how it could work in the short term. Because he is very controlling. He's got like an ultimatum every episode. He's got 4 new ultimatums. Well, it's either this here or I'm out. Or it's going to do this or I'm out. He does that every episode several times. And he thinks she's not even married, but he keeps doing that. He keeps threatening to leave and threatening to get divorced every episode. She has not done it one time, but he swears she's the one that doesn't want to be married. He's an asshole and a bully. They had a dinner party. Who was at a damn dinner party? It was Paige, Brianna, and Haley. And it was stupid. It seemed like Brianna didn't really want to talk about her marriage because it was Paige and Haley, and their marriages are just falling the fucking apart. And they were talking about how bad things are going, like how they're struggling to make it. They're just fighting to get by. And Brianna was like, oh, yeah, it's stuff happens here too. Her marriage to Vincent is is a fucking dream compared to Haley and Jacob and Kristen Page. Kristen Page is a fucking nightmare. Our next couple is Jacob and Haley. Haley has a tarot card reader come over, and I don't think that went the way she wanted. Jacob really was like, whatever, I'm just doing it because she wants to do it, and I'll participate, and I'm going to go along with it. I don't think he was really into it like that. But everything the tarot card reader said pretty much applied. It probably applied because they had told her everything beforehand. So that probably played a role in it. All the cards she pulled and read applied specifically to them. But she said that your signs actually do match. And she like, your signs so that you could have a very good relationship if you opened up. And she was talking to Haley like, this is what it says. Like, if you opened up, this would actually go pretty far. And Jacob was like, wait, this your chick, you know? What the fuck? So it was just, if he wasn't into it then, he was into it now, when the stuff he was saying was kind of like, hey, what the fuck, you know? And they went, after that, they went wine tasting, barrel tasting. I think they tasting wine out of the barrel. And he was like, I've never done it before, but she had. So, you know, they talked about being married for a month, how it ain't going anything like they thought it would, or how they even wanted it to. And Jacob said, it's like we're just pressing each other. We're just kind of pushing each other to see where it goes one way or the other. And they look at their wedding book, and they're going over the memories. And, you know, he's looking at the stuff from the wedding, and he starts remembering, like, you know, you didn't like me. Like, she didn't like me that day. Because, you know, went in for the kiss. She pulled away. For a hug, she pulled away. She kept pulling away from him and, like, avoiding him for everything. And it was like, going back and looking at it, he noticed it. And he realized, like, oh, since day one, you've been pulling back from me. And, you know, that kind of kills his mood. Like, he is done after that. And she wants to be positive and move forward. Let's just try to get through this month as best we can and help this grow and see what this does. And Jacob is kind of in his feelings. He is like, I don't really care. You know? He was like, it's like you don't really care. I mean, you don't think about me. He said she looks past him. If they're in a room together, she doesn't even see him. And she was like, I don't understand, but she does. She understood what he was saying, but she was like, well, we can fix that. And I'm like, there's not really a way to fix that. If you're not attracted to him, he can't just make you attracted to him. Like, it's not that she thinks he's ugly. She thinks he's ugly. She doesn't like his style, his sense of humor, the way he dressed. She doesn't like, there is so many things about him that she finds unattractive. And she verbally, like, I find this unattractive. There's no way to work through that. There's no way we can, he can't change all of this if you find all of this unattractive. And he tells her, like, you know, it's very hard to flirt and to woo someone that doesn't find you attractive. It feels kind of creepy. He said he feels kind of creepy. And it was so many good points he made talking to her. Even about the hugging. He was like, you know, when we hug, you don't want to hug me. You hug me and you let out. We have a hug once a week to once a month. And you let out this huge sigh every time. And he's like, so I just don't even want to hug you anymore. Which I understand, which that makes sense. If you hug someone and then they're like, it's like, fuck you, I'm never doing that again. Shit. You know, it's like, why would I keep doing this when every time we do anything that kind of connects us, you act like it's a fate worse than death? Like, no, I'm not doing that anymore. Well, we got to work to be positive. Like, no, because if I do it, it's going to be an issue. The problem with Jacob is that he goes too far. He'll be winning an argument. He will be in the lead. And it's like, hey, man, quit while you're ahead. But then he goes too far. He starts bringing up shit about his personal feelings, about shit in the past, and all. It's like he doesn't let anything go. He doesn't move past anything. He won't let you forget for 1 second what the fuck you said and did. And it gets to a point where it's like, come on, dude, now you're just picking. And she feel I'm like, and I agree with her, like, you're just being mean now at this point. Yeah, I did it, but you don't have to bring it up every single time we talk. Like, I can't even apologize for it because it's like you bring it up every single time. He brings up everything that's ever happened to him or she's ever said. He never lets anything go. And that's got to be nerve wracking. And she says, though, I'm giving it all I got. He's not cooperating. And it looks like she's not giving shit. I don't know when she gave her all or where she's giving it, but I haven't seen it. And Jacob seems like he doesn't know what the fuck she's talking about. He is like, I don't know what the fuck you're talking about. You haven't given shit to me. Who are you giving it to? When are you trying? Where is this effort at? Is it outside? Do you want me to go get it? Because it's not here. This is so done that it's just painful to watch. And the thing is that I actually like Jacob. I think he is a good person. I think he had a bad match. And I think he needs therapy because his inability to move past stuff really is going to hold him back. Some shit you got to let go. Yeah, it hurt. Yeah, it was mean. But it's like you don't want the marriage to succeed because you keep bringing up old shit. You bring up the slightest thing, you make a big deal out of it. Forever. And she was like, I don't want you on me. And he got offended. Well, she said something about, she doesn't want to be around him because, and he was like, hey, I ain't fucking touching you. He's like, let's get that clear. I'm not doing anything to you. I'm not running up on you. I'm not grabbing on you. I'm not doing any of that. And she was like, you are correct. You are not doing any of that. He wanted that clear because she was like, oh, it's all about the physical with you. He was like, I'm not doing physically shit to you. With all these witnesses, you better clarify that up. And I ain't doing a fucking thing to you. And I'm with him on that. To our next couple, our last couple, Brianna and Vincent. They celebrate their month anniversary by going on a boat ride. And it was a surprise Brianna because he had her blindfolded or whatever. She didn't know where they were going. They went on a boat ride to watch the wedding on a video. They had a wonderful dinner. It was beautiful. It was so romantic. He poured the champagne. He was making fun of himself. See, that's growth and development. He had the champagne. He was like, oh no, he was joking about himself. Whereas last time he was very sensitive about it. Now he's a little bit more open because he's more understanding about it. She loved him, man. She's just playing around. She was like, oh, champagne Vinny. He was laughing around with it. So I think that's a lot of growth on his part, and it's more of an understanding of where she's coming from. She's not trying to be insulting. She's just being fun and trying to lighten the mood. Just just have a good time. And she said, you hear about unconditional love, but then she's starting to feel like, unconditional love. Like, this man does no wrong. He's so romantic and so sweet. And it's just that it takes them figuring out how to talk to each other. And I guess that's the part that they're getting better at now. This is how he is, this is how she is. And they're working to make the marriage successful. And you can see the progress being made. They're working to make things better. And he said, he's happy that she hasn't run away. That, they've been together for this month and she hasn't left. He said he's very happy that he married he said I'm happy I married Brianna Miles. She said, Brianna who? He said, Brianna Morales. And she was like, oh, okay. Cause she was like, I got your last name. She said at the wedding night, she was like, I'm taking his last name. And they had the dinner. It was nice looking dinner, like way better than what Claire and Ryan did. They were on the boat. The waiter came out with their stuff, their food. They're doing good. Like, it was hot. It was nice. They were out in the river in the water. It was just a beautiful setup. It was really, Vinny did that perfectly. He did that wonderful. It looked great. And they said they feel married. like they feel like I'm married to someone that I love and care for. And Brianna said, he asked her, what does it mean to feel married? She said, well, people say feel married. It sounds like they feel like they're obligated to be with someone. They're obligated to this person. She said she doesn't feel that way. She enjoys being with him. She doesn't feel obligated. She feels privileged to love him. And he said the same thing, like, yeah, like I don't feel like I have to do stuff for you. I do it because I want to, because I love you. I want to take care of you and the dog. What's her damn dog names? Cookie. He said, I want to provide and give you and Cookie a better life. He said, I don't feel like I have to. It's just, I want to do this to make you happy because you make me happy. And I just want to do it. And she was just saying, they were like, this is just what I want to do. And it was just beautiful. It was just beautiful. And then she said, I love that you like me. And then he said, I love that you love me. And it was just wonderful. It was so sweet. That couple, that Rihanna and Vincent, they're pretty much saving the show. Because they have their hiccups here and there, but they work through it because they want to be. They like in marriages. That's what I've never been married, but from what I've seen, you have to work through stuff, especially trivial shit, small shit. Because all their issues have been small shit, and they just work through it. Whereas you see like Jacob and Haley, everything like they have small shit, and they don't let it go. They hang on to it and they blow it up and make it huge. And Eric and Virginia's whole thing about not talking about problems, we're just don't worry about it. We'll just let the good times roll. We're not gonna talk about the bad stuff. That's destined to failure. That's destined to just blow up. Excuse me. So I love Brianna and Vincent. They look great. Champagne Benny is killing it. He killed it with that date. I know y'all saw it, but if you didn't see it, he killed it with that date. It was phenomenal from start to finish. He got some booty after that. I know he did. But hey, man, that's my thought. That's what I thought of it. What are yours? Make sure you like, comment, subscribe, ring that bell, and I'll catch you guys next episode, man. Peace.